So, as you can see, I mean, it's been a long time, and I have gotten zero progress done on the Jeep. It was summertime, and I got the boat bug, so this thing here got me sidetracked. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have any toys up and running at this point in time. Everything I got's broke, so I kind of wanted to enjoy the summertime a little bit, and I purchased this thing from its original owner. It's a '78 GMC cobrajet jet boat. And they've had it since it was brand new. And she was a little old lady. She was just heartbroken to sell this thing to me, but it was just too much boat for her. So, it's a really nice boat for the year. It was always stored inside its entire life ever since it was new. I mean, it's got, the seats are still in great shape. The carpet's still in good shape. I've had quite a few boats in my day, and they've all been inboard, outboard, 4 or 6 cylinders, and I understand the inefficiencies of a jet boat, but whatever. I want to listen to a V8 when I'm out playing out in the water, but I don't want a big boat either. So, I don't want to be messing with this 24-foot boat in order to get a V8 and an inboard outboard. You got to get a big boat. So, and there's so many other advantages to these things compared to inboard outboards. I mean, it's horribly inefficient because it's a big V8 engine. But you have no draft. There's no prop to be hitting logs with, like I've frequently done with all of my other boats. And there's just there's so much more maneuverable. There's no transmission. There's no. It's so simple. There's nothing to it. The pump is always running. If the engine's running, the pump is running. So they're just. I'm a mechanic, and the way I look at it is I like to buy things that are easy to keep up on, and there's no type of boat that is easier to maintain than a jet. There's just nothing to these damn things. So I normally buy boats in the summertime, and I get rid of them because I don't want to deal with winterizing them. But I really think I'm going to keep this thing. I like it a lot. It's fun to drive, and I don't know if I got had by this old lady or what, or if it she was told this, but she told me it was a 455, which I don't know Olds engines. I can't tell by looking. I don't know the damn block casting numbers and all this stuff. So I didn't think nothing of it, and we ran the boat the first weekend, and it ran great. I had all kinds of power. I just figured, yeah, it's a 455, but we used it a few more times, and the engine started knocking, and she told me it had been replaced because this boat sat for 10-15 years or something, and she dug it back out and had a marina put an engine in it. So, it very well could have been the marina, but when I pulled the engine out and ran the numbers on it, it turned out it was a 350, which, once I did more research, it made sense because they quit producing the 455 in '76, and this is '78. So it was a basket case. The engine was a complete shit box. It needed the full works, and I'm not putting thousands of dollars into an Olds 350. It's just a shit motor. So I sourced a 455 that had been sitting in a guy's pole barn for God knows how long. I think he said 30 some odd years, and tore it down and rebuilt it. The top to bottom, everything, completely rebuilt the engine, and they're very similar to the Olds small blocks. So all of the you know, the hardware that's specific to the jet boat, the manifolds and all this other stuff, is the bell housing that's on the back of it. It all bolted right back up. So it was a really easy swap. Engine mounts in the same spot. So as you can see, I didn't paint it. It looks like a piece of shit, but it's actually a brand new engine. And it runs great. I know these old engines don't really like high RPMs. I did all the oiling modifications to, the big problem with these motors is they pump all the oil up into the heads and it can't return back into the crankcase, and they dry sump, and that's the end of them. So I did all the necessary modifications to be able to at least get somewhat sustainable high RPM use out of it. It's not a whole lot faster on the top end than the 350 was, which, it's understandable. But it comes out of the hole like a bat out of hell now. I like it. It's the proper engine for this boat. It's a jet boat. It should have a big block in it. 90% of them do. So, so we haven't had any issues with this thing. The most recent addition is the. This is just an essential thing if you have a jet with a Berkeley pump. Like, you need a place diverter. If you don't have a diverter, I mean, you don't know. It just makes the entire boat. I got a lot of time on this thing, and in putting this thing on the last few times and running it with being able to trim the thing up and down. It's unbelievable what it does for the boat. Coming out of the water, you trim it all the way down, it forces the bow down, the boat planes like instantly with like no bow rise. Your cruising speed, you get up on plane and then you back the throttle back down, and the lowest speed that you can maintain while still being on plane, when you can trim it way down and keep force the bow into the water, you can go a lot slower. So you have this nice slow cruising speed, which is just fantastic. If you're just trying to use the minimum amount of fuel and just kind of go for a nice jog around the lake, it's great. If you have choppy water, same thing. Trim it all the way down, forces the bow of the boat into the water, cuts through waves better, the boat rides better. And you get up on the top end and you trim the thing up so you have a 4 or 5 foot rooster tail roughly, and the boat picks up speed because it's lifting the bow out of the water, less drag, more miles per hour. I couldn't tell you how fast this boat really goes because I always get scared that I'm going to scatter the old engine, so I back it down, but because it hits 50, 51, 52-ish pretty quick, but after that it just very slowly starts gaining speed. Meanwhile the engine's 5,000 RPMs, and I just get paranoid. It's not an LS engine, so I don't know. It probably goes 60 miles an hour if you really stayed into it, but and you trim it all the way up and you throw a great big 40 foot tall, 150 foot long rooster tail behind you, and that's just it's cool if you want to be a show off, which who's not a show off. So and it just adds a second cable here. The black cable is your original reverse cable, and the red cable here is the new one. And I went for the cable instead. There's a hydraulic option too. That's a complicated system though. I always try and minimize the complexity. So this is just a simple cable run up to a shifter. The cable I ordered was a little bit too short, so it's just kind of strewn across the floor right now. But I get a little bit longer cable, and I was going to duck it right underneath the seat there and try and sneak it up underneath the seat and along so you don't see it. But it's fun. It is stupid fun. I absolutely love this thing, especially with the new diverter on it. But it's starting to get cold up here in Michigan, so I am going to probably going to get back to working on the Jeep here. And start tackling the wiring, and we get this thing winterized, and it's going to have to sit here in the garage right in my way, but whatever. I really don't want to sit it. I don't want to store it outside. I really like the boat, and I want to keep it nice. The previous owners kept it nice for me, and so a buddy of mine wants to go through and wet sand this whole thing and takes some of the chalkiness out of the gel coat for me this winter, and another buddy of mine wants to take all the wood off it and refinish it. You can see it's pretty faded up here on top of the bow. Same with the wood. Whatever varnish was originally applied to it is all gone now. So, but otherwise the boat is in great shape. It's just fantastic that you can get this old of a boat in this kind of condition, especially in Michigan. You know, these old boats are, the interiors they just get trashed in the damn things. The seats go to hell, and then the boat's just not worth nothing. You can't even sell it. You can't give the damn thing away. So I just did a few things to it. It had a wood steering wheel, which I still have, but I just replaced the steering wheel for now, so that one gets reconditioned. And had this fake wood looking glove box on it, which was just hideous, so I just replaced it with a black one. Had no dock cleats on it, so I added 6 cleats, because that's a real pain in the ass when you're trying to dock the damn thing. So but that's about it. I mean, I don't need to do anything else to this damn boat. It's got a great running engine in it now. It's got a diverter. You know, maybe do some pump work to it this winter or something. Tear the pump down and blueprint it and go through it and get a little bit more efficiency out of it. But I mean, I don't even see that as really being necessary. So it's just really cool that I got a jet boat that actually has 6 seats. You know, I mean, it's nice. I can pack a bunch of people in this thing, and it's just like a family boat. It's quiet. It's got mufflers. It's got an engine cover. You know, you can have a conversation in this thing while you're driving it. You know, it's not like your typical jet boat, over transom headers, louder than hell. You know, just painful to drive more than about 15 minutes because it's just obnoxious. So it's a really unique boat. And it's probably because, you know, the majority of jets are on the west coast, and they're just hot rods. You know, this boat I found out is actually built in Wisconsin, which is probably why it was built how it was built. You know, and it's not a flat bottom either. It's a V-hull boat, so it corners really well. You know, it does a lot better in the chop than the flat bottoms, and it's got a nice roller trailer, so it's a piece of cake to get in and out of the trailer. It's the original trailer too that came with the boat. All I had to do was put a winch on it. So I don't know. I'm excited. I finally got a boat that I really like, and yes, it's sidetracking me from getting my damn Jeep done, but yeah, I just started chipping away at that again, building a mount for the fuse panel and a couple other things, and I'm going to start tackling the wiring nightmare here shortly, and hopefully I can get the damn thing up and running and start it up. So within, I don't know, a month or 2 I should be able to have that thing pretty well completed. So anyways, that's the update on why the Jeep's not done. So yeah, thanks for watching.